You think you have a focus problem. You start a task, and within 3 minutes you're checking your phone, opening a new tab, thinking about lunch, anything except the thing you're supposed to be doing. And you blame yourself. You think you lack discipline, or willpower, or motivation. You're wrong. You don't have a focus problem. You have a distraction-trained brain. And the difference matters because one is a character flaw, and the other is a reconditioning issue. Your brain isn't broken. It's been trained, day after day, month after month, to crave interruption, every notification, every scroll, every tab switcher. You've taught your brain that focus is the exception and distraction is the default. And now your brain is doing exactly what you trained it to do. But here's the truth that changes everything. If your brain can be trained toward distraction, it can be retrained toward focus, not through motivation, not through trying harder, through specific systems that rebuild your attention span from zero until distractions literally become invisible. Not because you're resisting them, because your brain stops registering them as relevant. This is how you build a mind so focused that distractions become invisible. First, understand what focus actually is. Most people think focus means concentrating really hard on something. That's not focus. That's effortance. Focus is when your brain enters a state where the task in front of you becomes the only thing that exists. Time disappears. Notifications don't register. External noise fades. You're not fighting distractions. You're not aware there are distractions. That's deep focus. And the reason you can't access it anymore is because you've conditioned your brain to expect interruption every 60 to 90 seconds. Here's what happened. Every time you got bored, you picked up your phone. Every time a task got hard, you switched to something easier. Every time you felt uncomfortable, you found a distraction. Over months and years, your brain learned a pattern. Discomfort equals escape. Boredom equals stimulation. Focus equals suffering. So now, the moment you try to focus, your brain sends a distress signal. This is boring. This is hard. This is uncomfortable. Find something else. And you obey. Breaking that pattern requires reconditioning. And reconditioning starts with one rule. You have to teach your brain that boredom and discomfort are not emergencies. They're just states. And states pass. Here's the system. It's called depth training. And it works in stages because you can't go from distracted to deep focus in one day. Your brain will revolt. You have to build the capacity gradually, the same way you built the distraction habit gradually. Stage 1. Controlled monotasking. For the next 7 days, your only goal is to do one thing at a time for 10 minutes without switching. Not 30 minutes, not an hour. 10 minutes. Pick something simple. Read an article. Write an email. Wash dishes. Fold laundry. It doesn't matter what it is. What matters is you do that one thing, and only that thing, for 10 minutes. No phone, no music, no switching tabs, no checking the time. If your brain screams for distraction after 3 minutes, you don't give in. You notice the discomfort and you stay. This is the reconditioning. You're teaching your brain that wanting a distraction and needing a distraction are not the same thing. Most people fail here because 10 minutes feels insultingly easy, so they skip it. Don't. Your brain needs proof that it can survive boredom without escape. 10 minutes gives that proof. Stage 2. Extend the interval. Once 10 minutes feels manageable, move to 15, then 20, then 25. You're not trying to hit 2 hours of deep work yet. You're building the neural pathway that says focus is safe. Every time you complete an interval without distraction, your brain updates its model. Oh, we can do this. We don't need constant stimulation to survive. This takes 2 to 3 weeks, and it's boring. That's the point. You're desensitizing your brain to boredom. Stage 3. Introduce resistance. Now your intervals are 25 to 30 minutes, but the task isn't easy anymore. You're writing something difficult, solving a complex problem, learning something new. The discomfort isn't just boredom, it's cognitive strain, and this is where most people break. They hit resistance and they escape to something easier. You don't. You sit in the strain. You let your brain struggle without rescuing it. This is where deep focus is built. Not in the easy tasks, in the hard ones where your brain has to work without the crutch of distraction. Stage 4 while. Eliminate decision points. By now you can focus for 30 to 40 minutes at a time, but you're still losing focus during transitions. You finish one task and before starting the next, you check your phone. You grab a snack, you open social media. The focus breaks and it takes another 10 minutes to rebuild it. So you remove the decision point. Before you start your focus session, you decide exactly what you're doing for the next 90 minutes. Task 1, 40 minutes. Task 2, 30 minutes. Task 3, 20 minutes. No decisions during. No breaks except the planned one. You follow the script. This removes the moment where your brain can negotiate an escape. Stage 5. Build the deep work block. Now you're ready for what most people think is the starting point. A 2-hour block of uninterrupted deep work. Phone in another room. Internet blocker on. Door closed. One task. 2 hours. No exceptions. But here's why this only works now and not at the beginning. You've spent weeks reconditioning your brain to tolerate boredom, strain, and monotasking. Your attentional muscles are strong enough to sustain the load. When you try to start here without stages 1 through 4, you fail because your brain hasn't built the capacity yet. But it's not just about duration. It's about depth. The goal isn't to work for 2 hours. It's to enter a state where you're not aware of the 2 hours. Where you look up and realize 90 minutes passed and you didn't notice. That's flow. And flow only happens when your brain stops scanning for threats and distractions. It stops scanning when it learns distractions don't matter. Now here's the part that makes the difference between someone who can focus and someone whose focus is unshakable. You protect the environment. Most people build focus capacity and then wonder why it disappears the moment they're in a coffee shop or an open office or a room with other people. Because environment matters. Distraction isn't just internal, it's external. And if your environment is feeding you interruptions, no amount of internal focus will hold. Here's how you protect the environment. First, remove passive distractions. Notifications off. Not on silent. Off. If your phone buzzes, your brain registers it even if you don't look. That registration costs focus. Every notification is a withdrawal from your attention bank. Turn them all off except actual emergencies. Email, Slack, social media, text. All off during deep work blocks. Second, control your visual field. If you're at a desk, your screen is the only thing in your line of sight. No other tabs open, no clutter, no sticky notice, no second monitor unless the task requires it. Your brain processes everything in your visual field whether you're paying attention or not. The more objects in your field, the more cognitive load. Clear the field. One task, one screen. Third, manage ambient stimulation. Some people need silence. Some people need white noise. Some people need instrumental music. Test it. But once you know what works, make it consistent. Your brain learns to associate that environment with deep focus. Over time, the moment you put on the headphones or enter the quiet room, your brain shifts into focus mode automatically. You've conditioned the trigger. Fourth, set boundaries with people. If you're working near others, they need to know you're unavailable. Not rude, unavailable. A closed door, a sign, headphones, whatever signal works. Because the moment someone interrupts you, even for 30 seconds, it takes an average of 23 minutes to return to full focus according to research. One interruption doesn't cost 30 seconds. It costs 23 minutes. Protect the block. Now, the real test. Maintenance. You've built deep focus capacity. Your brain can lock in for 2 hours at a time. Distractions are invisible. You feel unstoppable. And then you take a weekend off. You scroll for 2 hours on Saturday. You binge a show on Sunday. And Monday morning, your focus is gone. Why? Because your distraction-trained brain is still there. It was just dormant. And the moment you feed it distraction again, it wakes up and reclaims control. This is why building a focused mind isn't a one-time project. It's a maintenance system. You don't rebuild focus and then go back to distraction habits. You build focus and then protect it like your career depends on it. Because it does. Every hour you spend in deep focus produces more value than 10 hours of distracted work. The person who can focus for 3 hours a day will outperform the person who works 12 hours distracted. Every single time. Here's the maintenance system. 1 deep work block every day. Minimum 90 minutes. No exceptions. Not because you always have 90 minutes of critical work. Because your brain needs to practice focus daily or it atrophies. Focus is a skill, and like any skill, it degrades without practice. The day you skip is the day your brain starts relearning distraction. And here's the mindset shift that makes this sustainable. You stop seeing focus as hard work and start seeing distraction as the real cost. Distraction isn't rest. It's cognitive junk food. It feels good in the moment and leaves you depleted after. Deep focus feels hard at first and leaves you energized after. Once you feel that difference, you stop craving distraction. Not because you're disciplined, because you genuinely prefer the feeling of deep work over the feeling of shallow distraction. The people who complain they can't focus aren't less capable. They just haven't built the system. They're trying to force focus through willpower in an environment designed for distraction. That's like trying to meditate in a nightclub. It's not a willpower problem. It's a system problem. Build the system, and the willpower becomes irrelevant. You don't need more motivation. You need depth training. You need to recondition your brain. You need to protect your environment. You need to practice daily. That's it. Do that for 30 days, and distractions won't tempt you anymore. They'll become invisible, not because you're resisting them, because your brain stops registering them as relevant. So here's my question for you. How long can you focus on one task right now without checking your phone or switching tabs? Be honest. Drop a comment with your current record and what you're committing to build it to. Subscribe for more no-nonsense productivity systems that actually work instead of motivational fluff that fades by Tuesday.